we work a gap analysis between their dream and the reality. A lot of people say, I want $100,000 worth of income, but I only want to pay $75,000. Well, that's unrealistic, obviously. So we try to say, okay, here's your dream. Understand, here's reality. Here's the closest we can get, and let's work from there. And then, walk through the process. Sometimes, like Robin said before, for years. Sometimes it takes years for people to make a decision.
Right. All right, so let's talk about the other side of the process. I've got a good, successful, going thing. I'm tired. My kids don't want to be in the business. I'm out of this thing. First question for me is, how do you even get on my radar? Meeting people like me, that's got to be a challenge, yeah?
Well, actually, we have been in the business for so long, and we have sold hundreds of restaurants now in the Atlanta marketplace and all over the Southeast. In fact, we're franchising nationwide now. We actually have offices in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
And so we're taking our concept nationwide. But people find us primarily through referrals from doing a good job.
Right.
You would be surprised, Stone, we've actually sold the same restaurant multiple times in the last 10 years. Eric's very first listing, we've sold it like 3 times now, because when people buy from us, when they're ready to sell, they come back to us. And we have referral through all the food service industry, suppliers, food, alcohol folks that sell. I mean, anybody that touches the food service industry, they know we sell restaurants. They know what our name stands for and our reputation, and so they refer people into us. So that's a huge source of business leads for us. And then folks find us on the internet. We write, in addition to our book, which is 352 pages, we write a blog at blog.wesellrestaurants.com. Every 2 days there's a new article being posted up online. So if you Google restaurant broker, how to buy a restaurant, how to sell a restaurant, how to do anything related to buying or selling a restaurant, we're going to come, because again, we want to be about thought leadership. We want to teach people, we want to educate them, and if buying a restaurant's not the right thing for them, we want them to leave happy and excited and satisfied and say, I learned something from these folks. I'm not the right person to be in the restaurant business, but you know what? When my buddy says I want to buy a restaurant, I'm sending them to Eric and Robin at We Sell Restaurants.
We'll do a free valuation for anybody that calls us. We'll go meet with them, look at their financials, and tell them. And the reality of it is 99.999% of the time.
This is a lot.
It is, yes, yes. It is worth more to that owner than anybody else in the world.
Right.
That emotional piece, that,
sure.
and the greatest word, I'm sure you hear it a lot in your studios, entrepreneurs, potential. It's got potential.
Right.
And they want to sell potential. Well, you don't get a whole lot for potential, guys. So make sure that you realize that. So we do a good job trying to educate the sellers, and we look at the signs, we look at the comps, we look at current other opportunities selling to them on the market. We sold hundreds of restaurants, so all that combined with our experience, we look at a lot of different things also. It's just your financial information, the quality of it, your lease. I mean, a lot of people have bad leases out there, because guess what? They did it on their own. They didn't use a broker or a broker that knows the restaurant. Leasing an office space like you have here is very different than leasing retail restaurant-specific space.
Well, I bet that can eat you alive. You make a bad deal on a lease,
it's a 10-year deal.
Ouch.
That's the thing. You're signing up for essentially a mortgage when you try to negotiate. And we have so many people. We've written articles. We've got a whole chapter on the landlord is not your friend, and why you should use someone who is not the landlord's advocate in negotiating a lease. And we do everything we can to minimize a personal guarantee and look out for the business interest, because even hiring an attorney's going to look at the legal terms, but he's not often looking at the business terms, and that's what we'll do for you.
I wish our listeners could see our financial planner guy in the studio nodding up and down vigorously when the landlord is not our friend. So thought leadership, web presence, and then just isn't it amazing what a fantastic sales tool just doing good work can be?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a good thing the financial planner had a seatbelt on, because he was going to jump.
Well, the real question I have is, how do you deal with the emotional aspect of these buyers and sellers? Because we deal with the same issues that you do. We're doing the same thing, planning for their financial future. So how do you deal with the emotional aspect of it?
It's education and experience and really sitting them down. And there is a science. There's a methodology. There's absolutely, Eric has been designated an industry expert by Business Brokerage Press. I have an MBA in finance. So once you begin to try to take the emotion out and you can demonstrate factual comps and actual sales that have happened in the marketplace, people begin to be dissuaded a little bit from all that emotion and say, you know what, there actually is a method to this madness. It's not, oh, it feels like it's worth this today.
And honestly, sometimes is, you know, I refer them to my competitors. Go experience them, and then when you're done with them, they'll come back and you'll be like, okay, I get it. I get what you guys are doing, and this is the right thing. Because a lot of people will list any businesses at any price out there. That's not doing a service to anybody when it just sits out there for years.
Well, that's integrity and that's bravery. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say your approach from the business perspective is the reason why it sets you apart, and I think that makes it a lot easier when you're dealing with emotional aspects of it, and probably the reason why you have people come back to you. So it sounds like you guys take a good approach to it.
Thank you.
Before we wrap this segment, I want to hear a little bit more about the book, the way it's structured, the kinds of things that people can expect to see in this book, and where they can get their hands on it.
Okay, well, there's 352 pages, and absolutely it takes you from building out why you should buy a restaurant versus building a restaurant. The restaurant assessment tool that we talked about, there's an entire chapter that's sizing up the restaurant for you, so it takes you through actually how you should look at whether you should even buy a restaurant, the team that you need, preparing yourself for the search, and the fundamentals evaluation, writing the contract, a whole chapter on
Buying a
leasing.
franchise versus not buying a franchise. You know, we have something, if you buy the book, make sure you pay attention to the rule of 3 on the franchising. I won't tell you what it is, Tony. You got to buy the book and read it and tell your listeners later on.
Yeah, but we're available on Amazon.com. We'd love you to buy our book and also review it for us and read some of the reviews that are out there. If you go to WeSellRestaurants.com, it's right on the home page. It's available there. It's in Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. So, and always call our office. Come to our office. We have a wonderful office. We're located at 101 Centennial Olympic Park Drive, Southwest. We own a building on the right. The first building on the right past Phillips Arena, so we're easy to find. We're there. We've got copies. Be happy to autograph them for anyone that wants to pick up a book from us. So easy to find. Also on our blog. Link to us anywhere. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Pinterest. We're on Google+. Anywhere you can be online, we're there talking about restaurant brokerage and why you should deal with a firm with integrity and specialization like We Sell Restaurants.
Wow, what a fantastic conversation and an inspiring one, I think, with Eric and Robin Gagnon with WeSellRestaurants.com. Let's make sure, once again, we make sure that everybody knows how to get there. It's WeSellRestaurants.com.
That's correct.
And the book is on Amazon.
The book is on Amazon. It's called Appetite for Acquisition. It's also on our blog. It's blog.WeSellRestaurants.com. You can find us on Twitter at Twitter/SellRestaurants. You can find us on Facebook. The URL is We Sell Restaurants. Just Google We Sell Restaurants and you will find us out there.
Well, that's good branding advice, too, for our listeners out there. Just, you know, you don't have to get too fancy. That's just perfect, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We get it all the time. People say, what's the name of your company? I said, We Sell Restaurants. I know that. What's the name of your company? And it's kind of like, who's on first? You know, it's like after a couple of times, oh, I get it. Oh, that's good.
That's fantastic. Well, listen, how about hanging out with us for a little bit while we interview our next guest?
Oh, we can't wait.